recognise a lot of faces here, and it's great to be here. It's great to get the invitation to address the coaching conference. I'm more comfortable out there than I am in here, so what I decided to do is try to stick to what I know best, and that's a coaching session. So my presentation over the next 30 minutes or 40 minutes is going to be basically a training session. So the hook line is the stealth. Okay, so everybody's sitting down there and saying, what the hell is stealth? Okay, and what on earth is stealth? So if I mention stealth taxes, everybody should be familiar with some stealth taxes, especially the investors like Tom over there. Okay, hidden taxes. So stealth coaching is hidden coaching. Okay, so it's integrating the components of our game, be it mental, physical, tactical, technical, into a training session. And in keeping with the theme of this year's conference of well-being, we're aiming this at, say, youth and child. And what we're looking for here is that we can incorporate all the components into a training session. You don't have to do fitness in isolation. You don't have to do tactics in isolation. You're doing everything together, and we're hiding some. Is that okay? So that's what the theory is in stealth. But before we go on, I just want to go through a few little things in terms of my coaching journey, and that might make sense of how we've arrived at such a thing as stealth training session, practice session. I love this quote, and it's, we've borrowed the game from our children. Has anyone heard that quote before? Well, it actually comes, and it's very apt at the moment, it comes from the Leeds United manager, Marcelo Bielsa. Okay, now I hope he's not here spying on us. Okay, but it's a fabulous quote, and what it basically means is this, the way I interpret it is this: if we want to watch the kids that we're coaching at the minute in Crow Park, we have to arm them with the skills. We have to give them the best chance that they can perform out there, because really we've borrowed the game from them. It's their game. Okay, so I think it's a powerful quote, and I'll be coming back to it once or twice during the talk. Okay, so coaching by stealth is, in terms of technical, we want to develop the skills of the game by distraction. So what I mean by that is they're carrying out all the skills, they don't even know. Okay, we've pitched it, we know what we want, but they don't know. Okay, sorry. Tactical, we want to create game-like scenarios to question players and challenge their decision-making process in real time. Now that's what we're really looking for in terms of game-based activities, is creating pockets of what happens in the game and training. So it's real-time training, so they're faced with them scenarios. And in terms of fitness, we want to enhance sport-specific fitness through games and game-like activities. Now, if we have any strength and condition coaches or sports scientists here, they'll argue the point that lots of straight line running makes players quicker. And that does, but it's not sport specific. So again, for coaching kids and youths, it has to be sport specific in terms of fitness. So I'm hopefully going to cover a few of them as we go on. Okay, so coaching through the years, I'm going to just talk about how the equipment has changed, how session planning and recording has changed, how the analysis and feedback to players and management has changed, okay, and how we've gone from drills and activities to game specific play. Now, I said to myself here when I come in here, I'm not going to mention the 2 Ds. And the 2 Ds are drills and Dublin. Okay? So forgive me if I do mention them. Okay? But I try to refer to drills now as activities, trying to get away from that. Okay? And again, I broke my rule already. Become a magpie coach. Jim Gavin's quote. Okay? Take a little bit from here, take a little bit from there. But the key about this is, don't take it as gospel. Take what you like, put your own adaptation on it, okay, and so on. But don't take something like for like and try to integrate it into your plans. Okay, see these? Hands up. Who used to rob these on the side of the road going home from work? Okay, well I know I did. Okay, and talking to some of the suppliers out there, they're already telling me they've memories when they were driving home with their fathers and they'd stop and throw 3 or 4 of them in the boot of the car. Okay, some clubs still use them. Okay, we've O'Neill's and all the places upstairs looking to tout their business. So equipment has changed down through the years, okay, and the way we use equipment has changed through the years. So you can see, you know, if we don't plan our sessions right, you'll see that the kids will adapt to it, okay, and they'll make sure that they get the best bang out of the buck for the cones. So the equipment and all the areas we've changed has changed out through the years. Now, before anyone quotes, that's not my fingers, they're not my nails, okay. So I suppose we can say this is my first coaching manual. And this is from the early 90s, and if anybody's old enough, you would have seen that the old public services book, okay, because I am a civil servant, so that's what I used to do when I was on the gates as an usher in the Dáil. So if you look at that, okay, everything's handwritten, okay, and our colour coded is blue pen and red pen, but everything's straight lines. Everything is backs and forwards, okay, so again, this is the work we were doing years ago in the early 90s. So it's really interesting to see how things have changed, okay? So I used to jot everything down, and that's how I plan my sessions, like that, okay? So you can see it again, everything is just, you know, it's very linear, and, you know, it's not really suitable for what we're looking for now. So then we progressed into simple Word documents, okay, when we became computer literate. But again, straight lines, long queues, okay, up around cones, turning left, turning right, okay, not really developing sports-specific player. Okay, I found a bit of time to myself, and learned how to use PDF documents and learned how to use different colours. But more importantly, okay, the activities changed. So these are becoming games. Okay, we're getting away from drills. So you've got more game scenario movements. Okay, fancier colours, look great. And to this, okay, this is a PNF that we send out to players beforehand, and this is what we're doing today. Okay, so this is my training session. Okay, so I'm going to go through this training session, which is I have videos for it to accompany. So that's basically the bulk of my session here today. But before we go, again, I like to refer to training as practice. Okay, and again, always taking little bits from other people. Marcelo Potticino, who's a brilliant young coach, never raises his voice. You know, really encouraging. Here's his take on practice. Robotic practice produces one-dimensional robots. Challenging scenarios produce players who can solve problems, use environments that give players the opportunity for self-learning, leave mindless drills for dentists and builders. I came to one of these sessions before, and they had ladders. They were talking about ladders are for firemen. I said, I'll do one better. So drills are for builders and dentists. Okay, games. Games are unrehearsed drama with a few rehearsed moments, which are set plays. Okay? Plan what you can and have a bit of chaos in the rest. Okay? Now, in terms of fitness, speed and distance parameters are set based on data compiled over the playing year and current trends. And I'm going to speak about that now, moving on to our session. So, 16 sprints per average training session. This is based on the under 17 county squad. Okay? And this is based on the training session that you're going to see now. So, we measure a sprint being over 22 kilometers an hour. And what that means is this: if I run from here to Jimmy and get over 22 kilometers an hour, that's marked as a sprint. Now here's something that I learned years ago. That represents hard work. And hard work is a skill. And you can coach it. Okay? So here's some stats from a game that this under 17 squad played. So you've got everything there that you see from GPS. You've got time played, distance covered, blah, blah, blah. I'm not really interested in that. I'm interested in the dark screen. So what they are is, that's the amount of times these players reached over 22 kilometers an hour. And if you look closely, there's one player that reached it 30 times. Now that's outstanding. Now again, we're looking for averages. I'm not looking for sort of the best. I'm looking for averages because it'll have to be relevant to the position played. Okay, if that makes sense. So there's one match, and there's another match. And again, both results show about 16 and 17 average. But here's the key. Here's one done from training, from this training session, and we're hitting the same scores. So in keeping with the theme of well-being, okay, what we're saying here is by using this type of training, okay, and monitoring this type of training, you're hitting the same marks that you should hit in a match. So it works. And that's a scientific proof to back it. You're hitting the same speeds, you're hitting the same distances in a type of training session like this as you are in a match. So it's relevant to what we're trying to do. Does that make sense? So that's basically what I was trying to do, get all the way around that about what stealth coaching is. So again, that's what we're building up to. So we're coming back to this, right? And what we have here now is, this is my coaching practice. And again, Crow Park Kick'ems, very original. I thought I couldn't get a crest for it, but I like the name, there's a ring to it. So what we're doing with this is, okay, this would be email or text out to players, let's say, and explains to them what the training session is. So what you have is, okay, on the left-hand column, you have the time and you have the activities on the next one, and then you have the specific content. Then you have the work, which is 10 minutes here or there, and then you have the rest, and then you have RPEs. Now what an RPE is a rating of perceived effort or exertion. Now that's easy for us as coaches to sort of compile, and it's simply done by questionnaires, by sending out questionnaires. Out of 10, how hard did you think that exercise was, or this exercise? And over time, you will compile that information. Okay. Now that information is really important, because if you've got physios or strength and conditioning coaches working with you, they could say to you, this guy's coming back from injury, drop him out of the high intensity skill refinement game, because that's reckoned to be 9. So it's a simple little exercise, and it engages you with your players, right, about how they perceive your training to be, how tough it is. So again, they would get that in advance. So the first part is player-led individual preparation. Okay, so it speaks for itself. But one of the things that's here that's very important, if you see the top, it's probably not really too clear, is set your personal training goals for improvement in this session. I'm going to touch on that later on. Okay, so that's key. So that's the type of language you'd be using sending out to players. So again, we're moving on to this, the handling games. Now these are my favourite games. Okay, and if anybody knows me and has seen any of the training that I would do, I do a lot of this sort of stuff. So again, I'm going to play the videos, and I just going to let you have a look at them and see what you think, and we'll talk through them. So this is the grid. Now I did toy with the idea of the early ones, the green slides, but they don't really, it's not really a great visual. So for this to work, I just threw it up like this. So basically, I haven't got sizes or distances because it's all relevant to whoever you're coaching. So if you're coaching smaller kids, the distance will be smaller, adults bigger, but it can be used across the board. So what it is okay, we've got one large square, and we've divided it into 4 different pitches, and we've 3v3s in it. And I'm going to go through a series of handling games. So this is what you're going to see. So the first game is the high pass and the high catch. Now, please excuse the bad language if you hear any, because when I was practicing this, I could hear the coaches calling stuff out. I don't know if there's any bad language, but if there is, please excuse. Okay. So the best thing is to do is to focus on sort of one grid and watch the movement of 1 or 2 players. So you're catching a high ball under pressure, okay? You're trying to disrupt the receiver of the ball, okay? Now, is that game-like movement? Okay, right, so the alternative to this is for under 10s or under 11s, is straight lines and a coach throwing a high ball to them, okay? What's more relevant? Now, see the likes of this is perfect for young kids because the ball has been thrown by their peers, not by their coaches. So it's not going to reach certain heights, it's not going to look like a massive meteor coming to them. What about the movement in terms of fitness? Quite intense, isn't it? Quite short, sharp movements, okay? Now, the bout of activity, we leave that on for 90 seconds. So that's overload, that's too much. But we're looking for some fitness gains out of it, okay? So you're taxing them a little bit there. Is that fair enough? So again, back to this one, and now we're going to move it on to the hip pass. So, same grids, again, just pick a square and try to watch. Okay, one of the common errors that a lot of coaches make when they're coaching hand passing, we keep saying to each other, pass the ball to the chest. There's your chest up here. Okay? Now that's the hardest bone in your body. If the ball hits that, it's going to bounce off it. So I love that game. Ball being tossed from your hip. Generally, you're looking for it to come here. Okay, and again, look at the movement. Now, we use words like timing. Okay, but what is timing? Timing is the space between things. So if the ball is coming to you, okay, and the ball is here, if I get my hand between here and the ball, that's timing. Great opportunity to coach timing, the tackling that. Again, use your body, bumping to disrupt the receiver. Okay, great games to go into straight after warm-up. We happy enough? Okay. Now, we're back, we're still in this grid, okay, and now we're going to do a bounce pass. Now, these are 90 seconds, all right. So after about 45 seconds, these players are fatiguing, right? And you can see the movements slowing, isn't it? Okay, the handling's getting poor, but that's what we want to do. We want to challenge them under pressure. Okay, so again, what I like with this one is we all think we create perfect players who can pass the ball perfect, but at times they're not. At times we pass the ball incorrectly and the ball bounces on the ground and the player, the receiver, has to reach and has to adapt himself. Do we train it? Why not? Okay, so here's again. They cannot receive the ball until there's a bounce in it. Again, perfect time to use your body, okay, correctly, without fouling. Now this is the third bout of this game, so you can see the players are getting quite tired, yeah? Okay. Right, so it's really tough, okay? It takes a lot of pressure on them, okay, these games, because they're really played in condensed sport. Right, so you can see what happens there. So again, the quality's dipping as they get tired. I'll just keep it moving, okay? So what I do now is this, okay, I remove them centre lines, I remove 3 balls, and what I do then is we just play it all in. So see what happens. So this is for 90 seconds, okay? And again, it's all them 3 games in a bigger grid. So we're going to go through the high pass, we're going to go through the hip pass, and we're going to go through the bounce pass. But, can you notice any difference? Now it's 12v12. Is it as intense? No. No. Is there more contact? No. There kind of is. Is there more touches? No, 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 no. Okay, so again, after 30 seconds, we're just going to quickly move. You can see they're still in the high throw. Okay, you can see the blocks, great opportunity for all that sort of stuff, getting your blocks in. So you're going to see now it changes to the hip pass. See, now great speed in this first. And that's just about touch, nothing else. All we're working on here is touch. Okay, touch, 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 but game specific touch, touch under pressure. Okay, relative to the game, absolutely. Okay, and then very quickly we'll move it on then. You'll see it shortly come to the bounce pass. And there's an off the hip that's meant to go to the chest. Okay, so now they're on the bounce. See that? Okay, so that guy's tired, he couldn't bend. Right, great opportunity for tackling properly because the only tackle we're looking for is to tackle the ball, isn't it? Okay, off put him. So you've got all that type of movement. Great, great hand-on games. So excellent warm-up. But you know what the beauty about this is? Any age group. Okay, you happy enough with that? Right, so we'll be moving on. So we come back to our training session. So now we're moving on to what's called a dad game. Catching names, okay, because then players have the picture in the head. I'm big into coaching pictures into players' heads. Okay, we'll explain a little bit of that later. So this is a simple 5v5 game, okay, with quick rotation of players. So again, we're going to work for around 12 minutes. There's plenty of rest in it, 3 minutes. And the rating of perceived effort is 6. So it's not really too taxing, okay. So again, that's the setup of it. So we're kicking, the orange team is attacking the 2 temporary goals. The blue team is attacking the main goal, okay? So the orange team has 2 options, can score either one, and if the blues turn them over, they have an option to go for a point. And this is really good video of it because what happens is we got 3 attacks. We got a defence, an attack, and a defence. So it really progresses well. So see, they didn't put that ball away, so we've a counter-attack. He didn't put it away. So again, you have another counter-attack. So you see the way the game's flown from a defence to attack to defence. Now what I get out of that game, what I like a lot about this game is you get a lot of angled running, you get a lot of cuts, okay? And we talk about this thing called anticipation. Anticipation is massive in Gaelic football and it can be coached. And what we're looking for in anticipation is this, is fellas expecting the ball to go somewhere else. So if the ball is kicked here, I'm going to make my run here thinking the ball will end up there. And that's hard skill to coach. And I'm going to try to explain a little bit more about that later on. So we come back to these games now, okay, so we're moving on. And you can see the RPE's gone higher in this, okay, and these are the wall pass games. Now these are my favourite games, okay, and again, these are based on skill refinement. So again, when I talk about what sport-specific training is, what games-based training is, it's performing the skills, mastering the skills in game-like environments. So this game is based like this. It's called a wall pass game. So see the cones, you have a large grid. Again, you can adapt the sizes to suit your needs. So at them cones, you have what's called a static man, and that's a wall. So what happens when you kick the ball off a wall? It comes back to you, right? So that's the name of the game. So if you pass the ball to the wall, your team keeps the possession. So it's a skill refinement game, and what I'm looking for here, again, is your touch from your handling. But again, if you keep them down small-sided games, you don't develop your kick passing. So again, you have to come up with some skill refinement games for kick passing. So this is my favourite, and again, it's the wall pass game. So there's a kick straight away, okay? Excuse the language if you hear it. Pardon? Yeah. So when you're in possession, you've always got an extra forward place. And that means you've always got an extra option. Now I've suspended the touch in this because I want the head lifted. So I want them to see the pass and I want them to execute the pass. Is that okay? Right, so that's fine and it's for skill refinement. Perfect opportunity for coaching, perfect opportunity to develop bilateral skills. Okay, because all you need to do is put the condition on, kick with your left, use your left hand. Okay, so you can see it's quite good, isn't it? A lot of movement, okay. Now, bearing in mind, skill refinement. And again, we said a lot of technical, tactical, or whatever. So we're not really getting much out of this, only development of skills. Would you agree? Okay, so I want to move that on a little. Now this is massive, okay? This is massive. If you've any supporters of NFL, you'll have heard of this, and it's called separation. And what separation is separation speed. And what I'm looking for here is, if I'm a corner forward, I need to get separated from my defender. And I need to get possibly a metre and a half from him, okay? And that's only part of the job. The next part of the job is the man on the ball has to have speed of thought to see that, okay? And he has to have execution speed to pass that ball to me. Okay, so there's loads in that. So I would stop that game, and I'm going to change the game up a little bit. So remember what I'm after speaking about there, separation. So separation is you getting away from your man, right? To a distance that will allow your teammate pass you a good ball. So we're after working on skill refinement, now we're progressing it a little. So again, same game, except I've replaced the men at the wall with coaches. And the rule now is that on the coach's call, the coach that's reffing it, the game can change with a ball coming from any of the 4 cones to either of the teams. So the orange team might have the ball, and then all of a sudden a call comes from the coach, right? Cone 2, kick the blue. So the game will change midstream. So you have intense man-on-man marking. And again, we're looking for the skill refinement under pressure. Okay, so if you watch now, you'll hear the coach call, you'll hear the whistle. Right, so it's changed, come from the other one. Look at the runs. I see the separation. That's what I'm looking for in that game. And I'm looking, can the passer execute the pass properly, okay? Right, now, there's loads in that. So if I'm trying to get away from my man, the defender has to close that separation. See it changed again? Okay? So you're responsible for your man, okay? So when you're on the ball, you're looking for space. When you're off the ball, you're looking to close that space. See it change? Okay? Very intense. Only play it for a few minutes. I think there's one more.
Sorry, is the coach in the middle?
Yes, coach is reffing and calling it. So it's changed again. Look at the hard runs. And you're looking to close that. Yeah. But still the principles of the wall pass for skill refinement, except the ball can come from any of them cones to either team. So the game changes, it ebbs and flows. 1 minute you're attacking, 1 minute you're defending. Right, really intense. Okay, and again, by using words like separation, you're not putting a clear picture in the player's head off the ball. Okay, is that okay? So I think language is vital, and sometimes you don't have to go through long-winded explanations. Just 1 or 2 words puts the picture in the play. So we're moving on, okay, and here's another really good game, okay? And again, I wouldn't do a lot of coaching in this game. I do a lot of questioning afterwards, okay, asking players. And what I call this is space filling game. So what you have is you have a 3v3 in, let's say, the scoring zone. Again, the distances change. If you're coaching kids, the scoring zone changes. If you're coaching adults, it changes. So what happens is the rest of the players are in pairs either side of the arc, and there's a 1v1. Both sides start with a ball, and they're coming around the circumference, and when they get there, a coach will nominate one player to attack. So the other player drops the ball, but they join in the attack. Now here's the key. When they finish the attack, they stay in that arc, filling the space. If the defenders win the ball, they must break out to the arcs, or to the gates. Okay? So again, we've got some nice clips here for it, and you'll see it yourself. So you can see the 3v3 inside, and there's the players coming around the edges. Can we see that? When they get to the top, the coach will call one player will drop the ball, and that 4 join that arc. Now the demands of this game changes. It can swing from defence to attack, okay? So you see that? So now we're back in, but some of the space is filled in there now. Loads of coaching in this. Right, so he was called. So they're in. Now watch. Okay, big lazy shot coming up here. Right, and the Blues eventually turn over. Now loads of coaching in it, and again, I'm not telling them what to do, but I'll be asking them questions afterwards. So the Blues eventually win this back. And they're really chuffed with themselves, watch. Now they work the ball out and they get a score. Okay? And look at them all patting themselves on the back. But what's happened behind them? Game's restarted. Are they working hard enough back to cover the space? No. And watch what happens. Look, see them still jogging? Okay, right. What happens? Game restarts. Loads of decisions for the players. Loads of pressure on the players. Okay, so this is the last attack again. So the blues have to communicate. They have to close spaces. Right, the oranges have to communicate to create spaces. Now, I can't tell them what to do because you know why? It's chaos, isn't it? I don't know what's going to happen. So you can see that. So they've won the ball back, okay? So they're working it out, but they're communicating with each other. So what I would do now after that is I would question them on some of the things that happened in the game and I get their opinion. And then what happens is between me and the players, a bubble forms. And that's where the learning is. What they tell me and I say to them, what meets in the middle, that's what happens. That's where the learning is. And that's a really good game because you know what happens? Loads of different scenarios happens. So you look at the RPE 6 there, you can look at the time. So we're just going to warm down, you know, we're going to finish it up with a nice shooting drill. Now, language again is crucial. We all talk about loop shooting. I'm not mentioning the D word. I'm not telling you who loops. Okay, so again, what's a loop? Kids don't know what a loop is. So we're trying to coach a loop here. So a simple loop and drill. So what we have here is this. Is players are working in pairs. So the oranges are working in pairs. The orange and the blues that are delivering the ball are just out of picture. But they're looping and passing the ball across the scoring zone to their teammates. And what happens is, see the blue player wins it. His partner just loops around him and tries to stick it over the bar. Orange the same. Now what's happening there is a simple scoring drill, right? But where's it placed? Yeah, but whereabouts on the pitch? The scoring zone. Okay, now we'll decide what's our scoring zone and what not. Okay, so what happens in there is the peripheral vision has been affected, isn't it? Because there's bodies running across and there's two balls going. So it's just a simple unopposed drill. But I'm not looking for any contact. I'm not looking for any of this. I'm looking for players to get comfortable in areas where they know they can score. I'm looking for them to use both feet. I'm looking for them to time their loop. I'm looking for all that sort of stuff. So it's just what I call this sort of training is programming. You're programming them in certain movements, you're programming certain areas, and you're asking players to be aware, okay, I can quote the stat about a certain team that won't shoot outside that. Okay? So again, they purposely would practice like this. They wouldn't be practicing shots outside it. So it's just different sort of practicing again. And you're not getting a whole lot out of it except fellas, you know, are being aware of how to loop, you know, using both feet and that sort of stuff. Is that okay? And we go back to our training session and we have a warm down and a recap. And that's very important that we recap just what we did. So we'd ask them a few questions and they would kind of give us a few of what they felt. A little bit of a review afterwards in terms of what activity they felt they worked hardest on. Is that okay? So again, if you think of some of my earlier slides where I said that, you know, our stats proved that these training sessions hits the same numbers as games. And that's what's crucial. And was there much activities there without the ball? No, none, okay? So that's what we're trying to you know, get across in terms of the well-being in today's conference. So the Stealth Survival Guide, just a few thoughts and random thoughts to finish. Again, we'll be finished on time. Okay, Noel, you have to be careful when you're talking. I robbed this from Noel, okay? Pigs, your personal improvement goals, right? So you have to set your pigs for the players, but more importantly, as a coach, you have to have your personal improvement goals. Look, coaches deliver bad sessions too. We do that, we all do that. And you review your session, God, that didn't work, and so on. So you have to have your personal improvement goals. What I like to do is, right, on a team's performance, I like to analyse it and say, right, we need to do more of that next week or more of this next week. Okay, so they're my personal improvement goals, how I set them. Okay, paint pictures. Real believer of this, paint pictures. So the picture I'm painting up there for you now is popcorn tackling. If you put popcorn in a microwave, what happens? Pops, doesn't it? So imagine 10-year-old, here's how I want you to tackle it. I want popcorn tackling. I want that ball to pop from his grasp. Now you're putting a picture in his head that he can only tackle what? The ball. Now, you know, fellas waste hours trying to talk about technique and that and the other, and we're just after doing it there in a minute. Popcorn tackle. Can you pop the ball from his grasp? So he has a clear picture in his head of what's been asked him as a coach. Okay? Creative questioning. What will you be able to do in an hour that you can't do now? Players hate it. Ask them at the end. Tell me one thing you learned today. I'm going to ask at the end of this session, by the way. Okay, so one thing you learned today, and you put them on the spot, but they'll answer it. I asked a question the other day from training, and one of the players was scrambling, but he turned around and he said, forwards need to communicate more. And I said, if that's all you got out of that session today, I'm happy with that. Okay, so ask questions, creative questioning. Okay, know your why. Why am I doing this exercise? Why am I playing this game? Why are you here? Know your why. So no matter what you're doing, you have to know your why. Okay, a couple of thoughts to finish, right? Because a friend of mine who's an engineer said, Colm, tell them all about your mistakes. And I said, I haven't got all day. Okay, so there's no such thing as a mistake. You never lose, you just run out of time. Couple of things. Management and coaching are two different things. Okay, completely different, right? And you need to know that. And some guys are more suitable to management than they are coaching. Okay, clarity. Now I'm not going to be very clear on this, okay? Bit of a paradox, right? Clarity in your objectives, not in your instruction. Because if you're trying to instruct, we go back to the Potticino quote, you're creating robots. So clarity in your objectives. Why are we doing this part of the session? Why are we doing this game? Okay? And place your strongest coaches with your youngest players. And then you know what happens? We give the game back to the kids. Remember we borrowed the game from the kids? If you put your strongest coaches with your kids, you know, you're giving the game back to them. Okay? Be brave, have fun, and make a dent. Do you know what make a dent means? You're going to make mistakes. So what? Get on with it. Okay? I love this slide. Bring it with me all the time. We go tutoring. Okay? We have a big room. We have a big audience here. You take on information 5 different ways, right? And as coaches, we have to make sure that we're hitting all these ways for people to take on information. So you visual, watching them slides. If I talked here for 40 minutes without them videos, you'd be all bored. Okay? Maybe some of you are bored. Okay? But somebody's probably got more learning out of the videos. Okay, audio, listening to, not me, right, but listening to things like your phone, listen to iPods, listen to, you know, all the radio, listen to all these talks and chats. Or here, if you've got a load of instructions for your team in terms of kickouts and calls, record them onto your phones and have the players listen to them. Okay, kinesiology, doing it. Okay, verbal. Okay, which is instructions, like listen to me, and discussion, the two-way thing that we're just after speaking about. Okay, find yourself a mentor. Just the late, great Paddy Clark, okay, one of Louth's greatest managers. He was a great mentor to me. Okay, you could ring Paddy anytime, or Paddy'd ring you, one or the other, but he'd monitor your career, he'd monitor a few things that you're working, so always seek a mentor. Okay, and really to finish, resources. Attend coaching courses, read books, okay, look at other sports. There's always something in it. So that's kind of bringing the end of my 40 minutes or 30 minutes. I hope you understand or picked up a few ideas of what stealth coaching really is in terms of hiding all the components of the game, trying to integrate the components of the game, trying to distract learning, all that sort of stuff. So that's what I was trying to get across here today, and I'm just using different videos and visuals. So if anyone has any questions, I think we're on time, Jimmy. I think we're keeping it right on the button. So that's more or less my presentation for today, lads.